Hi, this is Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. In a series I used to read, occasionally one character would say to the other, "May you live in interesting times." It was understood that this was a curse, where interesting times meant chaos and difficulty. Well, we do live in interesting times. I mean, don't we always? So this season, together we will explore equanimity and chaos, recognizing that many aspects of life are beyond our control. Let's find a sense of balance and peace amid external chaos. Oh, hello, everyone. Today we are exploring the role of compassion and how it can help us during times of political division, kind of like now. It's important to remember our values of compassion and wisdom and mindfulness in difficult situations, which again could be now, and try to still cultivate some inner peace and recognize that we're going to have some strongly held opposing views. That has been true for a few years, and it's still true now. And one of our challenges can be that, political disagreements, they feel personal to a lot of us. And let's just acknowledge that all of the changes and there's tariffs, the tariffs are suspended, this group is being fired, this group's being called back, all of these things that are going on, and this is being cut, this is not being cut, all of these things that are going on right now can feel very personal. And in some ways, of course, it is personal. If it's your job that's being cut or your benefits that are being cut, then of course it feels very personal and you are experiencing it at a different level than everyone else. I think right now, my thought is that all of us are going to have some difficult experiences as things progress here. And the truth is that politics intersects with our core values, like who we are, what we think is right and wrong, who we think should be helped, who we think shouldn't be helped. And that makes it challenging as well. And then, of course, enter our friend attachment, clinging to the ideas and our identities and our emotions. And, when we're overly attached to a viewpoint, we can become defensive or even aggressive when it's challenged. And as I say that, when I'm saying like overly attached to a viewpoint, again, we're going to need to find that area of balance, that equanimity, because I'm not saying stop caring about other people or what's happening to other people. So somewhere in there is the balance, the equanimity of wanting people to be cared for, right? So we're all going to need to find our way to approach that and work on that. The Dhammapada reminds us that from attachment springs grief, from attachment springs fear. For him who is wholly free from attachment, there is no grief, and then no fear. And there is a lot of fear, right? So as we're seeing systems and things changing that we thought would always be there, or things that we believe in and feel strongly about being changed and disagreed with, we're clinging tightly. It's suffering. It's suffering. And that's also why, if we discuss this with people who don't agree with us, it can become very emotionally charged. I think we also need to recognize that the media, social media, and a lot of our political leaders are really leaning in on division and really pushing for this divisiveness rather than dialogue and finding a way to get along. So our challenge is to step back and say, am I engaging? Am I engaging in this from a place of wisdom and compassion? Can't tell you that I am successful with that every day. I could tell you that, but it wouldn't be the truth. It's difficult for me too. Now, it's important for us to be able to draw on our metta, our loving kindness, to be able to wish happiness, peace, and well-being for all beings, even those we disagree with. Yes, even fill in the blank of the name of that person or political figure or whomever you want. It's important to be able to get to a place of being able to wish them happiness, peace, and well-being. Obviously, that isn't always easy. So we want to really use our meditation and start by sending those thoughts to ourselves first. This is why our teachers show us to send loving kindness to ourselves first, then loved ones, then neutral people, and then eventually to those you have conflict with. So again, and this is also why we call it a practice, right? This is a practice, right? In the Metta Sutta, there's the statement, let none deceive another, nor despise any being in any state. That would be lovely. Let's get to that place. Also, right speech is very important right now. We be very careful about the way that we disagree with others, the way in which we speak out against beliefs and decisions and things that are happening, and especially how we communicate that to others around us. It's okay to disagree and not like something, but right speech is encouraging us to communicate in ways that are truthful, kind, and beneficial. In fact, there's a question, three questions you can ask yourself before you speak. And I've used this not just in Buddhist practice, but in walking around in the world, in business, and in other ways, which is what I'm about to say true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Another version of that, the one that I might use more when I'm teaching, say, like leadership and communications courses, is, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? So if it's not true, kind, or necessary, and it doesn't need to be said, and it doesn't need to be said now, and it doesn't need to be said by me, silence could be a better approach, right? In the Nipata Sutta, it says, speak only that which is true and beneficial. Okay? Again, that doesn't make you in agreement, and it doesn't mean that you might not protest or find a right way to resist, but it does mean that you're careful with your speech, because wrong speech only ultimately hurts you and your practice and your goal of wanting to shed suffering, right? And impermanence. Political landscapes change, as we are seeing. Opinions shift, as we are seeing. Nothing stays the same forever. That also means that whatever's happening now and whatever things are changing into won't be true forever, just as it might be true that the system that you have clung to, that you feel is right, that also was impermanent and may or not be around. And it's difficult, I get that, right? So in terms of working with others around us, try deep listening, which is just hearing what someone has to say, or if you're on social media and you are doom scrolling, I guess, reading the other perspective, right? It's easy when you're reading or listening to someone who shares your beliefs. But so when you're reading or listening to what somebody who doesn't believe, deep listening, which means don't be practicing your counter argument. Don't be practicing telling them where they're wrong and how their statistics are off. Listen to their words and their emotions, because behind all of this, there is something. And at this point, for some people, it might just be that they want to be right. We don't like to let go of what we believe on both sides of any discussion or issue. So there are some people out there who maybe have a tiny bit of regret, but just aren't ready to admit that they think they may have made a mistake. And we need to be very careful with them, or we're going to drive them all away. Thich Nhat Hanh spoke about, compassionate listening, which is listening with the intent to understand, not to respond. It's always good to pause, right? So take that deep breath. Take that mindful deep breath. When you read something triggering, which again, I also recommend only staying on top of the news stories that you need to stay on top of, because I'm not saying don't know what's happening in the world, but don't get sucked into all of this chaotic posts and doom scrolling. Be very careful. And then when you run across something triggering, whether someone says it or you read it, mindful pause. You don't need to respond right away. And when you take that mindful pause, you can probably come from a place of wisdom rather than a place of anger. And maybe then you can ask somebody, what makes you believe that? What brought you to this place? Help me understand your perspective. Try to come with curiosity, because curiosity will help maybe diffuse some of the tension that's going on. Everybody wants happiness, safety, and well-being no matter what they believe about who's doing what and why it's right and why it's wrong and who should receive help and who should receive protection. Everybody wants safety and well-being. And underneath all this, there are still real humans and real human emotions. So we want to try to engage with more kindness. And we want to try to remember that this doesn't have to divide us. Politics doesn't have to divide us. If we approach it with mindfulness and compassion, listening is more powerful than arguing. Kindness is not weakness. No matter what anyone might say, whatever quotes you might see from people or groups that you disagree with saying kindness is weakness or empathy is the greatest flaw of the American people, you don't have to listen to that. You don't have to listen to that. And remember, try practicing meditation, metta meditation, and right speech, because it can make a big difference. And as I have been ending in these times, please remember to pace yourself, take good care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and protect the unprotected. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on margaretmaloney.com, margaretmeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.